Hey, how you doing? Uh, I'm gonna show you a form here that you can use if you so choose to, and it's a form to, it's in a release, it's like a statement for the release of Charles Manson. If you wish to send it in, then I'm providing you with the information that I found from Outwar with Lies channel. It was one of the links on there, and it's basically a statement you can print up and follow. You can put it, copy it and put it into a Word or a Notepad, copy it and then print it up and put, put your own words to it or whatever. But it's a good example of how it should be written up, the statement. And the statement is to release Charles Manson. Because he's been in jail long enough. He's not getting his rights, and if one person doesn't get their rights, nobody gets their rights. And we are starting to see that in this day and age as more and more of our rights are being taken. Um, I don't care what you think you know about this case. I'm sure you haven't researched it if you think that Charles Manson is guilty of something. Um, you're probably going on what you know from what you've heard on television through the media, which is nothing but lies and opportunistic individuals trying to make as much money as they can off everything they can. And Charles Manson was one of those instances. Charles Manson didn't get to put on a defense, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but he wasn't able to put on defense. So I don't care if you think he's guilty as all get out. He should at least have a fair trial and be able to put on his own defense. That's a right we have. Arlington Cemetery is full of guys that fought for that right, supposedly. Um, as we see now, those rights were buried along with those people. Uh, and don't even get me into how wars are set up, and they're for profit. And just like the weapons of mass destruction, where are those? Where are those nukes that we were told? The media can make you believe anything. Look at Casey Anthony. They had her guilty. The media had everybody believing she was guilty before the first pieces of evidence even hit the table and were presented. As far as I'm concerned, the media shouldn't be involved in any court cases at all, to an extent. But then on the other hand, you know, they should maybe, this whole system shouldn't even be, really, if you want to be honest. This whole system is jacked. It doesn't work. So if one guy's not getting his rights, none of us are getting our rights, and we're seeing that. No one's getting their rights. Their rights are being taken away daily. This is all a big soap opera game theater, you know. Where those murders occurred was in Hollywood. Hollywood is a very evil place, people. There's people with big money, very evil people with big money, who never step foot in front of a camera. Very powerful people. Just ask the two Corys, Corey Feldman and whoever the other Corey was. One of them's gone, so you can't ask him. He killed his stuff over this. He killed himself over this Hollywood stuff. So, and I did a video previously showing you the symbolism that they used at that crime scene. Now that is occult symbolism that was carved on the stomach of Sharon Tate, and that is done by people with powerful people who are into that stuff, the occult. Uh, and these people aren't the only ones that are victims of Hollywood. I mean, it goes on and on. We can go into the child slave operations that are taking place, that government officials and powerful people are a part of. They throw one guy, Sandusky, under the bus and everything's okay now. No. They'll throw their own under the bus to get the light off of them. But the light is coming, and the children are coming. So anyway, this is a statement you can fill out for Charles Manson's release. He should really have a fair trial, but I mean, he's been in long enough at this point for not murdering anybody, not being at the scene anywhere, for telling someone to jump off a bridge, supposedly, okay? Many of those years in solitary confinement. He was just put back in solitary confinement. If you go to At War with Lies and go to one of the links, you'll see the story at another blog. Just go check out all the links. So I guess I'll read the first paragraph here. I know that there are literally thousands of Manson supporters around the world. This is a project that every person can easily participate in. The goal of this is to obtain a surprisingly large number of letters supporting Charles Manson and his release from Cochran State Prison. We openly present this collection of letters to the state of California and to the world. Please send one letter per person, okay, to this one. And then it tells you what you should include right here, you know, your hobbies, interests, and stuff like that. Stuff you should add to that after you copy it and put it in Notepad or Word or whatever you're going to use before you print it. So if you have any sense in your head, or if you've you have any intelligence there, and you've gone through the interviews, go through the interviews, all of them on at War with Lies here. Forgot I had it in a tab. At MasonDirect.com under interviews. Here. Right there under interviews. And watch all the interviews and listen. Don't go in there with a preformed opinion in your head that's been placed into your head by the media. Just like Casey Anthony. It's the same thing. These are the modern day Medes. Look that up. MEDES. Google that. So, here's actually a good little segment I'm going to read to you here, and then I'm going to call it a video, because this is really boils it down. This and by the way, this is these websites are from a woman named Star, who visits Charles Manson and I guess has a good relationship with him, and all this stuff she's put up, and organized all the interviews and everything at MasonDirect.com, and this website here is ReleaseCharlesMansonNow.com, and then Star's YouTube channel is, there's a link to it right here. I'll put links in the description area as well. So let me read this to you, which should motivate you. If you need motivation to get going and send your support letter, think of it this way. Anyone who does not show their support for Manson at this time is part of the problem that is keeping him locked up and mistreated. You know, he's had his teeth broke up. He's been poisoned. He was set on fire at one point. I mean, it's really ridiculous. He did not murder anybody. He was never proven guilty of murder. And was never given a fair trial. Maybe on paper, but I mean, even Sharon Tate and the others said he wasn't at any of the scenes. So anyway, we must show our numbers now. We can prove the people's support for Manson. Has your life been touched and inspired by Manson's word, music, or art, which you can find at the over here, charliesarts.com. You can see some of that. And let's all get together and do something about the injustice that is covering up this beautiful and wise being. Again, write your letter to officials, and then the thing here. And then there's another letter here from Star of what she wrote and how she put it. Give you an idea of what you can write. I'll probably read this again myself. I'm about to print up the letter myself and do all this. So, there you go. you know, this is, if you really look at this situation and you really look at it with your mind on, without any, objectively, without any of, and forget anything that you heard the media say and go through the interviews, you will see what I'm talking about. Um, Unless you're just opinionated and not even gonna take the time and just go sit yourself in front of the TV and put your bib on and drool and be put in a trance by the bit rates and all that. Anyway, so that's about it. I was going to show you something else real quick and I forgot what it was. So anyway, that's something you can do to help. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to show. If you go to Mason Direct, I think it's under Words of Manson or it's somewhere. Just go through it. You'll find a contest that he has, like a little contest or something where you're voting for George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. George Washington is putting the country back together, being free of the system and living as one and stuff like that. And then if you want to vote, and you send $1 to him. If you want to vote for Abraham Lincoln, I think it's somewhere in here on this page, the very first page. But if you want to vote for Abraham Lincoln, who was for not such good things from what Manson says, then you send $5. So he obviously wants you to vote for George Washington, the way he puts it in here, which is interesting, rather than Abraham Lincoln, where you would send $5. He really wants you to vote for George Washington, which is $1. So you send him $1, that's a vote for George Washington, which is pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty cool. And he also has a neat idea in here about a seed gun, like a paintball gun, but with a clay ball that's packed with compost and seeds, where you can replenish the earth with, and all kinds of interesting stuff. So there you go. Fill out the statement, send in your statement, and then check out the rest of this stuff. All right. Remember, man, it's your rights too. One person doesn't get their rights, and none of us do. So take it easy.